Well, first of all, there were some quick turnarounds, quick doors opening. It took 3 years from my freshman year in college. By my junior year, I was All-American. It was awesome. And quickly right after that, I then turned around and got drafted into the National Football League by the New York Jets. And then quickly, 2 years after that, I found out what the NFL really stands for. Not for long. Okay. So I went through that process pretty quickly, but it was some great learning, great experiences that I had while I was playing in the National Football League. There's a couple things that I want to make sure I do today as we jump into this conversation. I am talking to you today about leading in a new reality. Leading in a new reality. So this is about leadership. This is about how we influence. This is about all those things. But I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me, if you would. I'm going to ask, since you're going to be here anyways, okay, why don't we make sure we get the most out of it? So what I'm going to ask that you do is I don't want you to just wear your job description hat when you go through this process. I want you to think about your entire life. My mission, my purpose, our company's purpose is to coach, train, and inspire leaders all over the world in unleashing their potential and the potential of those around them. Now, I said 3 things. I said coach, train, and inspire. I got an hour with you today, so I'm going to try to inspire. But the real work and the real change always comes from coaching. Real work, real change always comes from training, okay? And we all know this. So my goal is to inspire you some, encourage you, kind of help you recover from last night. Okay? And then following that, I hope it fuels you or gives you some focus as you go into some other breakouts and things that you will have. So you heard a little bit about my background. Proud of it. Let me give you a couple other dynamics going on with me right now. I'm feeling really good. And so, because we talk about a new reality, but I'm experiencing a new reality. So my wife and I just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. 20, thank you. And I told her, as she said, they've been 4 or 5 of the best years of her life. So anyways, there's some work in that. I have 2 daughters, 18 and now 15, just turned 15 yesterday, my youngest. So my 18-year-old's getting ready to take off for college. My 15-year-old is just entering high school. And so there's some change going on. There's a new reality taking place. So let me ask you this question, just by a show of hands. You don't have to say what it is, but have there been some changes, some new realities affecting some of you in the room right now? I mean, there's some life not challenges, but changes, right? Stuff is happening. And so when we talk about leading in a new reality, what we're saying is there is a new reality that we're all facing. Now, in the business world, some of these changes, I deal with a lot of organizations. I get the opportunity not only to do a lot of keynoting, but I do a lot of traveling, and both domestically and abroad. And one of the most common things that I hear and witness is that change is happening quickly. It's happening fast. It's moving quickly. And one person recently, I was back in the UK, I was in London, and a person says, has the fundamentals of business really changed? They haven't changed at all. It's still the same fundamentals. I said, yes, they are. The same basics, right? For me, with my football background, it's blocking and tackling, right? I mean, it's nothing's changed, except you must apply the fundamentals faster. Now, there's no such thing as we're going to sit back, we're going to strategize, take our time, then we're going to apply what we just came up with, view it, and see, did it really make a difference? And then we course correct a little bit, and then now you got to be strategic and tactical almost simultaneously because of the pace. Another reality that we're facing is what was considered exceeding expectations of your customers last year is now considered meeting them. So there's a new definition of mediocrity, which is meeting expectations. So if you're not exceeding them, there's a chance you're performing at a mediocre level. Now, I'm not saying that because I got all this incredible wisdom, okay? It's just kind of obvious. There was a time when your marketing dictated how the industry saw you. Now there's Bob, who lives in, Paducah, Kentucky, gives a review of you on Google, and it actually has impact. I mean, times are changing quickly. So to be able to lead in this new reality, it's just not technology that needs to be improved. It's just not, it's some of the things that are a little more diffused. Now, one person asked me, and I think they were asking me in a nice way. They were trying not to be insulting. So I don't know what it is. Anytime you're in the UK, I think it's because of their accents. They sound so smart. And so this is the question I get. Now, Eric, I appreciate the fact that you're here speaking with us. What I'm curious on is give me a little bit of your background, like your education. Basically, what justifies you being here telling us about what it takes to be a leader or what it takes to, collapse time in terms of performance? And I was like, well, first of all, I'm not insulted, okay, because I graduated from Central Washington University, which is one of the most prestigious universities in the central part of Washington, right? Okay, so I want you to understand that first of all, right? But after the fact, I said, not insulted at all. Let me give you a quick little highlight. And maybe some of you in the room who may be asking that same question. This isn't about football at all, but let me point something out. I believe the worst run NFL franchise is still ran better than 99% of companies in America, if not the world. I believe that. The worst run. So you may be a fan of the worst run football. I'm not saying you're a Cleveland Brown fan. I'm not saying you're a Jacksonville fan. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I believe the worst run, the worst NFL franchise is still ran better than 99% of organizations in the world. Now, that's my opinion. Is it because the people are smarter? Well, if you watch the news or Sports Center, we know that's not the case. Okay. Is it because of the selection process? Because we select the finest character-filled individuals you can ever imagine. You know that's not the case either. Okay. None of those things are the reason. But we have some built-in filters, some built-in things that require continuous improvement. Okay? One of the best things that we have that unfortunately the rest of the world can't use as often, even though you all, from a security standpoint, use aspects of this, is called video cameras. See, we function in a world where what we do in private always comes out in public. So how we perform during the week, our shareholders, stakeholders, people with strong opinions gets to watch every single weekend and give unfiltered feedback of how they think we're doing. And there's something that happens every year that also helps with continuous improvement. It's called a draft that everybody who's not in the league is excited about. But when you're a player like myself, a journeyman trying to hang in there, every April, it's the scariest time ever because they're looking to bring someone in at 20% of your salary who performs at 60% of your ability that gives them permission to get rid of you. Now, you want to talk about some built-in systems that demand continuous improvement? They're there, okay? Now, just think, I remember one game I was in and I had a coach and I was with the Jets. And I was on special teams, which is just, I hate it. I'm a wide receiver. I played basketball, then I went to football. And the only reason I went to football is because I'm a wide receiver and I don't want to get hit. And so as soon as I get there, they put me on special teams. Now, when you're on special teams, it sounds great, right? But because, I was one of the special ones, which means I was one of the ones they can sacrifice. So my role was a flyer on the kickoff team. Follow me here now. Some of you may not know football. Let me explain this. A flyer's job is to run down the field as fast as possible and either make the tackle or split what is called a wedge, which is now illegal. Unfortunately, they waited too many years to make it illegal, but it was legal when I was playing. So I run down full speed as fast as possible, and I split what's called a wedge. Okay? Sounds good. Until the moment showed up. So now I'm on the field. The kickoffs happen. We're playing the Miami Dolphins. All we have to do is run down, get a good stop, and there's a chance that we can pull out a win. But I run down there full speed. I see the wedge. Now, we all process differently, and this is how I did mine. I looked at the wedge, and I thought, okay, there's a win-win scenario here. I can run around the wedge, come up from behind, and make the tackle. Because the wedge is comprised of 3 to 4 guys who are too big to be linebackers but too small to be linemen. And all they want to do is just hit people really, really hard. And when I was running towards them, it felt like I had 8 eyes just on me. So I went around the back, came up from behind, made the tackle, pulled him down. Feels like a win, right? Great. Until I made the tackle. I did make it, but instead of making it on a 20, I made it on a 40. And they had a pretty good quarterback named Dan Marino at the time. And so what happens is they end up getting down field goal position, kick a field goal, they win the game, we lose the game. Now, when I made the tackle, I came to the sideline. I had teammates who gave me a high five. I had a coach who said, did you split the wedge like you're supposed to? I was like, yes. Now, what I didn't realize is what I said a little earlier, is that on Monday, we're going to sit in a room like this with all of our teammates and watch film. And so when I show up on Monday, my coach stands in front of everybody like I'm standing in front of you and goes, we have one guy here who, I believe the speaker yesterday was talking about courage. I'm not going to use the adjectives my coach used, but it was basically I lacked a few anatomy parts and I lacked courage. Okay? And on the big screens, what you end up seeing is one guy running, or more importantly, cutting at a 90-degree angle, running around the wedge, coming up from behind and making the tackle. And then having the audacity to jump up and stick his hands way up in the air like he did something. Okay? We end up losing that game. We finished 8-8. We didn't make it to the playoff. They blamed everybody else. But the reality is there's one player who was too afraid to do what was necessary.